Hot chocolate, Azure Cosmos,
Entity Framework, Power Tools,
Net40 Suite,
Countdown commencing. T-2 minutes.
Jeremy Witness,
Shay Rojansky.
Grace Lanston.
Martha Vickers.
.NET data. T-1 minute. Thirty seconds. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Liftoff. We are go for .NET Data Community Stand-Up.
Boom! Just like that, we are live again 1 month later. Now we also have Shay. He kind of forgot about me a couple of times, and people are asking.
I'm back.
Fine. He said he had better things to do.
Not answering that one. Moving on.
Moving on. All right. Okay, so let's talk about efcore 11 and what we have in store this time. So preview 3 is live now for a couple of days, I would say, not weeks, but days. And again, bunch of new features and changes and stuff like that. So let me go through the list. As usual, if you check the show notes later, you will see the links to what's new in efcore 11 and stuff like that. So going quickly over the preview 3, the change tracker has a new method called get entries for state, which allows you to get entries without forcing the detect changes. So you usually know, hey, I want only modify changes, for example. So you can do that through this API. We now also have methods on the configuration to remove extension, remove DB context, and stuff like that, add pull DB context factory, and so on. So if you are using DI with EF or you are modifying some services, definitely something that will help you. For the migrations, there's a new method, exclude foreign key from migrations. So if you don't want to have a foreign key in migrations, you can exclude that with just one single call. On the SQL Server side or query generation side, let's say, there is one huge improvement that Shay is definitely happy about. If you have 2-1 joins, originally we always generated a bunch of order by clauses and joins, which was not necessary. So it was just wasting resources on the database side to do the ordering and stuff like that. Now it's not there unless necessary. If you do order by and stuff like that, it will be there, but definitely simplifies a lot of queries, not only from the point of view of like the SQL being generated, but also the processing on the database side. And we also have a bunch of small new additions like function for SQL Server JSON contains, or in relational, I believe it is JSON path exists to be precise. So if you are using this function, you want to use this function and your database supports it, which most of the databases that have a JSON support do, you can call it directly without any hacks or anything like that. With that, Shay, you want to add something? Did I forget something?
No, I don't think so. Maybe there's some other things, but we work from preview to preview, and I'm already I already forgot what was exactly done for 3 because we're now concentrating on 4 and so on. But I think you nailed the list pretty much.
Yeah, this is the weird thing that for us it's basically .NET 11 is current because we are working on it. So if somebody says, "Hey, I upgraded to .NET 10," I'm like, "Wasn't that last year?"
Yeah,
but it is actually current the .NET 10, but you kind of live in the +1 version. All right.
There's one thing I think maybe you left out, but I again might be confusing. There's support for the new version of SQL Server Vector Search. That's something that we're working on for 11. It's still going to evolve. I'm now working on improving it even further for Preview 4. But basically, on Azure SQL, you now have a new version of the vector index and vector search. And efcore already supports that. So if you use Preview 3, you're already using the very last version. Again, be careful because it will evolve further. It will change in various ways from the previous. But if you don't mind being a little bit on the bleeding edge, which you shouldn't mind too much, then you can use all these things very cleanly from EF. So that's cool.
Right, and that reminds me one final thing. efcore now references Microsoft Data SQLite. Not SQLite, SQL Client version 7.
True.
So definitely test that out because it's a next major version. So you might encounter some unexpected changes and stuff like that.
Indeed.
With that, let me introduce our today's guest, which is Klaus. And he will be talking about the lightweight framework to automate efcore components. Klaus, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, of course. Thanks. Hello. My name is Klaus. I stay in Hamburg, or near Hamburg, and I'm developer for nearly 40 years, not 35 I wrote in the script. And I like C#. I think my C# is much more better than my English. So excuse me if I'm not perfect. And I would like to show you what I developed the last 2 years. And the reason why I created this framework was my credo: do nothing what anybody else can do for you. That's the reason why I have created this. And Microsoft with Reflection can do a lot of things for you or for the developer.
Laziness is the best thing you can
Shay, I can't
do.
hear you.
Really? Jiri, can you hear me?
I can hear you, yeah.
Okay, Klaus, can you hear Jiri?
I don't hear you.
Ooh, a bit of technical difficulties.
I'm not sure if this for this streaming important.
I can hear everybody.
Okay, that's okay. I'll read your lips. Okay.
All right, let me bring your presentation and we can take it from there.
Okay, fine. I don't want to show you the whole presentation. I think I show you some pages because the important thing is the framework for itself and the code. As I told, yes, something about my person, and this is the reason I told you again why I created the framework. The framework is based on .NET. It is created for the version 7, 8, 9, and 10. Surely 11 too, when 11 it's ready. And I only use .NET framework technique. There's nothing else. Everything is compatible with the network tools and in the .NET framework. I have nothing done for my own. It depends all of the standard framework. Okay, some key features. I have how I should tell my own settings. And normally, you have the app settings, and my idea was I don't want to have everything more than one. I don't like redundant settings, redundant code, and so I have other way to use settings. It depends on the app settings, of course, but you have for every key point, a key feature, your own settings file, and the framework combines all the settings to one app settings. That's the idea, and I have a shared folder with all my settings. This one special thing of the framework. The other thing is that without any line of code, you have for every model or for all entity 15 endpoints with generate root operations, and one of the feature is expression queries. So if you start with your development, I think you don't need any more endpoints. Of course, in a complete application, you will have your special endpoints. That's okay. But in the beginning, I have tried to work only with this 15 endpoints. Everything is strongly typed client per entity. It's always automatically illustrated in the DI container. You have nothing to do in this case. I have some other built-in cross tools like Swagger and OpenRPE. I have completely translation, online translation, health check is included, course single air. I use the RPE gateway YARP, and you have, in this case, you don't have to write any line of code. Everything is created by the framework. I use Verilog, and I have a push messaging and email scheduler. Because if I started with the framework, I was writing an app, and I needed this functionality. This is a very simple setup of the framework. So, you start with the Programm.cs. You define your settings. You write or create your models. You create a class with data seed, and you have your data migration. A typical Programm.cs looks like this. You have using to my framework. This is standard. You create the builder. With this line of code, you add my factory, and with the other red line, you add my factory apps. That's all you have to do. Of course, you have to include the packages. Some words to the settings. I told you I have my own configuration service that do nothing else as read all the settings files I included in the project and combine this in one app settings. That's all. So I have the possibility to use one setting files more than for only one project. That's the idea behind. These only four setting files, which we need in this example in the session here. You see, this is the main model, and this is the trick behind the automatic generating controllers REST services, and so on. I have an attribute, advanced table info, that has the name of the table, that's a model name, and I have a second parameter, the service name. It's possible to have multiple models in one service. The next important thing is that every model which has advanced entity is automatically read in my framework. That's the idea. And everything else, you see, normal properties, you can everything use you use normally to navigate between tables and or entities. I have the advanced table relations. In the next version, you don't need to add this lines. It's automatically too. And in this case, I have the item from the other model and the relation type, one to many or many to many. That's all.
Klaus, can you
I
hear
go
me now?
back. This Programm.cs and this kind of model configuration is all you have to do to use my framework and to get all the functionality of my framework. You have nothing else to do. The data migration is fully complete standard data migration of the .NET framework. It works in Writer, Visual Studio. There's nothing else. I have for the framework a framework data context, and you create just a class data context and inherit this from this context. Everything else is worked for yourself. Now I will switch to the code because it's an interesting one. I have a demo solution, and first I go to the and remove the database. I told about this settings. In this solution, I have 4 settings. This is a comment file. In the comment settings file, you define, for example, if you want to use Swagger. I will use it today before it's easy to show which kind of endpoints are created. And in this comment settings, we can define the services. For example, I have the contact service and I have my migration service. It's possible to do it in one service, but I like to have 2 services, one for the application and one for the migration part. In the coming file names, I can add all these setting files which should include in the application. On the end, after starting the application, we have the same as one app settings. With the database settings, it's possible I can have more than one database configuration in an app. For example, I have my identity service on Oracle server. It's no problem. I can configure the Oracle server configuration here, and both works together. The database types defines if it's MySQL, it's Oracle, Postgres server, and so on. The database name is the name in the database. And the server settings is the same. It's possible to have several servers or several physical servers, and this is a connection for the server. That's all we need. In this short example, of course. In this example, I have created a contact service, and I have the model I told. For example, this, you see it's very, very simple. You can use all of standards like indexing, attributes, and so on. And this is a little bit complexer model, so you can see the navigation is very fine. And it works with enumeration, everything you need, everything you know. I told you, I spoke from the database concept for migration. This is this one. You see very few code, and here is the DBC method. This lines is the client side for the data migration. Here you can configure the REST service or the REST client. Or in this case, it's not the REST client, sorry, the REST clients I'll show you later. This is the data context in the service to create your first data. It's very simple. When you has inherited from this interface, the framework automatically execute this class, and you can create your first data. So I have a lot of demo data, then we can see something. This is the normal migrations, you know. And oops. In the beginning, I have deleted the database, and now I created the first database by migrations. I write a script for this. It's easier. And I executed it. I looked a lot on the net of information about this error, but everybody told me that is not an error. It's a feature. I don't know if I have a change in the migration because I add a new property. I don't get this mistake or this error. Please ignore it. I do it. It works. I have never trouble with them.
So I think you can't hear me, Klaus.
The database is created again. And
I'll just say for the purpose of our...
I use the Postgres SQL, and it's possible to have schemas.
Can you maybe stop for a moment? Shay wants to say something.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate that I can't talk to you, and it's really weird that you can hear Jiri but not me. That warning is actually related to the Postgres provider. It's unfortunately a well-known annoying thing, but it happens only the very first time you create a database. It's part of the whole setup of when the EF provider is checking whether the database exists or not. Anyway, I just wanted to make that clear. It's a very Postgres specific thing, and this gives me more motivation to maybe go and look at it at some point. But anyway, I have lots of questions and comments, but I guess we'll just let Klaus talk.
PostgreSQL has the possibilities of schemas, and you see contact service is a schema name, and I defined it in the settings, in the comment setting. This is one of its property, so I can have a lot of different schemas. We will see later in the second example that we have another one. Now I try to start the application. And I have a console application too. I run it too. It's a little bit stupid. I have to, oops. everything works. It's for me only a check. I think it shows only that it works. Fertig is finish. And the other way, I start Swagger, and these are all the endpoints created by the framework. I go to the contact item, for example. You have a get all, you have a get by expression, get by ID, you get first or default out by expression, and so on. Everything you need is in this endpoints and included. And
Right.
I try, yeah.
I have a question. This is generated on the fly as the application is running, or this is generated while you are
On the
compiling?
No, on the fly, while the application is running.
Okay.
Klaus,
All
can you hear me
my,
now, maybe, Klaus?
endpoints have some features. I'll try it. For example, I will execute it. You see, it's a flat list, a plain list, but it's possible because it's a model. I can use all includes, and I have everything, addresses, and so on, whatever you like.
Right.
And you have a fully paging completely included for every endpoint. That's the idea. And when I start with the application, maybe in prototyping, I only use this one because of the endpoint with get by expression, I can use a lambda expression, and so you get all your information you need. And the execution of the lambda expression is on the server, not on the client side. You only send the expression to the server and get the result from the server. It works really fine.
The expression is sent as a string or some kind of OData. Can you maybe show how it looks like?
Yeah, it's a kind of string.
Okay.
It's like a kind of configured string. I have to say, very simple and very fast. So, and
can you maybe show us how the expression looks like, so we can get a feel?
Of course, I think I have one in this. It's a normal, standard expression of. I think here I have one. Here, for example. It's very simple, but you can do a complicated lambda expression.
Okay.
It's the same. You have an object and point find by else or something. This is really simple. You can create any lambda expression. It works. Here's something else. Okay. Yeah. So you have all possibilities to work with data. Of course, you will, I'm sure, in a big application, special application for banking and so on, you need your own endpoints for special operations, of course. But the beginning, you have all you need to work. You don't have to wait of colleagues. They have another endpoint finished. You can make test systems and so on.
Right. Is there some option to like configure what is allowed, what is not allowed? How is it processed on the server? Because security-wise, if this would be a public-facing or internet-facing endpoint, it would be quite problematic, right? Because you can do crazy stuff in the expression.
I have another example for this.
Okay.
This is a very simple example of using the framework. That's the idea, to show how it works. And now we switch to the other example.
Mm-hmm.
I stop it. Zack. In my framework, I have a completely identity system included. Very, very easy, very, very simple. And you see in this example, I have some more setting files. In this common settings files, I have the flag use identity service true.
Okay.
And this is in this version of a mistake and bug, and so I have to use the message service of true, but it's not working, and we don't use it in this example.
Okay.
And I told it's possible to have different services. My idea is I have my normal contact service and the identity service running separate in a separate database schema too. It's possible to have another database. Then you enter these keys, and then this service uses this properties.
Right.
If the whole service use one database and one service, I use the default name. That's easier. For the identity service, I need the identity service settings and system account settings, because for some operations, system operations, you don't need a special user that use the system account settings. Message settings needed because I have a bug, and already the server settings. That's, for example, you have to do to if you want to have identity use the identity service. Sorry, to create the identity service, a separate small project is the same as the contact service. I have nearly the same Programm.cs. I have my DB initialize, my C file to create my first user and so on. It's everything the same. I'm working with constants. That's not necessary, but I like it to have constants. That's all. And the difference between the contact service is that I have in the serving settings, in the app settings of the project, the property is identity service instance, because the whole identity service is included in the framework. And it is possible to have everything in one project, but I think it's not the way do you have to develop. We're working in services, and everything is your own service. That is the idea behind.
Right.
And with this identifier, the project knows I am the identity service. This is the service name I showed in the common settings. And that's all you need, nothing else. And that's perfect. You see, currently we have only the contact service. If we run the identity service, and we take a flash numbers. Now we have the schema identity with all identity tables.
Right.
It will be created automatic if you will use it. Okay.
Okay, we have
a
few questions in here, so let me bring them on screen. So the first one is kind of a generic. We could maybe cover it at the end, but I would forget about it. Why use JB24 framework, basically your framework? What can I tell to my boss for purchase reasons?
You save a lot of time. Really a lot of time, because the basic framework, because the entities and the controller is only one part. You will see you have a complete identity system included with OAuth in the next version, with the YubiKey technical. You have nothing to do with the basics operations every application needs. That is the idea behind the framework.
Okay.
I think especially for prototyping, but now I use it for every application. So I only write the model and maybe special needed controller, for example. I show you how it works with a normal controller. That's the idea. You save a lot of time and you don't do things twice or more. That's the idea behind the idea.
Okay. Another question is whether it applies to .NET Framework 4.8.1.
Not yet. Not yet.
Okay.
Okay. So the identity service is running, and now I start the contact service. And for example, I go to the contact item again, try it out. Error unauthorized. What I have to do the normal way, I go to the identity service, go to the login. I hope I have it here, try it out. Yeah, yes, it's. And yes, the token. And go to the Swagger. Close and do it again. And I get the data. So I'm authorized. The identity system.
I have a question about the identity authorization and stuff like that. Is this like a standard NuGet package something, or is it completely custom something that you developed?
Yes, this is completely developed by myself. But it depends on the default .NET authorization system.
Okay.
So, and the identity system includes the whole group and role system. That's it's not just a question about a token. The user must have, for example, read or write permissions or modify permissions. And I go to the so is so I have an object user roles, and so I can add permissions, for example.
Right.
This is the default permissions. Currently, I'm working on a UI system for UNO platform and for Blazor that you have, if the developer or the user like, completely user management.
Okay.
And you only have to use your own UI like CSS or so on.
Right.
The idea behind my system is that all the stuff every developer needs should be in the framework included, the main stuff. In the UI system, I have the color management, the theme management, the language management, so that you have nothing to do with this. I create, for example, for the UNO platform, my own controls. And all controls are automatically localized. That's a developer use the control and decided which language his application should support, and all the controls use these translations too automatically. Maybe for other session.
Okay, I have another question, because it's interesting for me and for Shay, definitely, because we spend a lot of time translating the link expressions into an SQL, and given that the user can send basically arbitrary expression, how do you do the translation into the expression that is then executed by Entity Framework Core?
In my framework, I can show it. It's easier to show. Yes. I have for the endpoint, you write the normal link or lambda expression. The endpoint gets the expression, and I have.
I think what's interesting is the method that's on line 51, convert string to expression.
Correct.
Yes. How it works?
It's very simple. I serialize and do that, and I am for executing the endpoint. I serialize the expression. It gives there's a normal link serializer. It's a NuGet package from .NET. I serialize the how I explain it. Yes, it's a kind of serializer, and on the endpoint I serialize the expression, and here and on the backend side I deserialize it. It's very easy.
Interesting. Shay, you have some questions?
Would love to know which NuGet package this is.
Let me here. Serialize link. This is the package.
And Shay is now Googling it.
It's okay.
Quickly. Okay, thanks. Yeah. Let's continue.
Yeah. Okay. So you see the identity service, it's very easy to integrate. And one, for my opinion, interesting feature is for development. I don't want to use every time the login and so on. And it's very easy, only in the coming settings, set or false. And when I start the service again, I don't use any authentication, just the switch in the settings. and for development, it's very practical. So I would like to switch to the first example because I forgot something. Of course, it's possible to have your own controller. Just a simple controller. And when it starts the contacts, so now I have the plain endpoint here. That's standard, of course. And if you want to add some new endpoints to the one of the generic controller, it's possible too. You inherit from the generic controller, and you have to use the right name of the controller. You can the name you get in the documentation, and you get the name, of course, if you run in Swagger, you see the controller name. And if you inherit it with the advanced controllers, the basic class of the controller, you can add your endpoints you need. Do it again. Debug, so. Contact item, oops. Contact item. Here's the added endpoint. Try out. Yeah, perfect. It works. Yes. Now it's a contact service, all right. I showed the contact service with the identity service. That's here you can see the methods, the endpoints of the generic repository. And here are the endpoints of the registration controller and the identity service controller. In the identity service is completely included the flow for registration user, from confirming user by email, and so on. Everything complete. And you, for the layout of the emails, confirming emails, you have one file to create, and then the service use this file, and you can have your own designed emails for the registration and so on. Yeah. Okay. Currently, we are working on the final on the finalizing of this new version. And is anyone interested to try it out? You have to write email to this address, and then you get a version to test and to try. No problem. I think end of the next week, the new version is online. And then you can go, you can use my home page. Yeah, you will find everything here.
Right. Somebody asked in the chat whether you have some getting started page or project page or something like that.
Yeah, I have. On my website you will find a lot of stuff to start and so on.
Okay. Shay, maybe we can try again, whether your sound goes through.
Klaus, you still can't hear me, right?
No.
That's weird.
Yeah, that's weird. I'm happy. That's okay. I have many questions and comments, but it's fine. We can talk about them some other time.
No, feel free to ask a question. I can forward it. I will be middleman.
Okay, yes.
We can try. I mean, so I've one question. Maybe the audience is wondering as well. So I'm seeing a lot of the components here that are developed by you. Like I heard stuff starting from a whole identity service and user management, going through UNO controls, and like this is a lot of stuff that feels like you're trying to do something that does everything. And I'm wondering how that can work. Like I'm guessing you're not like a huge company and so on. And it's a little bit concerning. So I'm just interested in how you see this thing. Like it's one thing to integrate, to basically just integrate existing components, but you're also actually doing stuff like identity service, which is each one of these is like a really huge thing. And you're saying I'm going to solve everything here. So what are your thoughts on this? Jiri?
Okay, there was a long question. I will try to
I'm
do
sorry.
it
I'm
a
sorry.
little bit shorter. So Shay is asking that you have this framework that's like doing everything from user management to identity and stuff like that. And he's wondering that it's one thing to integrate those services together or have it created from scratch, like for example your identity service. So how is this supposed to scale? For example, like you are probably not a huge company with a huge number of employees, so if you can comment on that.
Okay. I started with an empty project, and I had the problem by this project was I have no time. And this was the beginning of the framework. I remembered all my finished projects that I'd done a lot of things twice, every time again, and so on. So I decided I make a break with my normal job and created this framework. And really, the first idea was only to create the part with the entity framework, to create models automatically, and so on. After this works, I learned a lot of reflection. That was really the main reason. A lot of reflection, and yes, as I learned a lot of reflection, and that was the idea. Do a lot of more things which I need to create an app. For example, my last project was an app for votings of your politic votings, and so I for this I needed a language tool. I needed a design tool, designing functions, language functions, security functions, and so on. And I don't like to have a very big Programm.cs. It sounds a little bit stupid, but I like very clean code. And the first step was I have for every separate theme for language my own small project. And the last thing I have to do to put it in one package. That was the final work I have to do. But because the question, I started from scratch, yes.
Okay. I have maybe a question that will come up eventually. Is this something that people can download for free and try, or is there a license? What is the pricing strategy and stuff like that?
the pricing, you can see it on my website, of course. Everybody can get a trial license, of course. And the idea is the price of the whole library is 20 euros per month. Yes. And everything unfunctional that comes, I put it together, it's included.
Okay. Shay, you have some question?
I'm specifically wondering on the identity and authentication. This is something that famously nobody should implement because it's very, very hard to get these things right, and anything related to authentication is very, very tricky. So were there no ready options like out there in the .NET world that were good enough that you had to develop your own? Like I know there's Duende identity and other things like this. I'm wondering specifically about that decision.
Right. So Shay is wondering if you started this project and given that the identity and authorization and all stuff around the auth, people probably should not implement them themselves. Whether you found that there is no good implementation available, so that you started doing it yourself instead of using some already available NuGet package, community project, something like that.
The real reason is why I created my own way is that every .NET system, or a lot of the main .NET application use the generally package from Microsoft. And it sounds maybe a little bit crazy, but I think if one knows how it works, how it can crack, and so on, he knows for everyone. And I have something special things in my framework it's only in my framework, and that's not for everything the same. That's the idea. It's like identity server from Microsoft or from Google. I don't like to have all my stuff on the servers. It's a question for me of security, a little bit more security. I don't know if it's possible to crack the Microsoft tools, but that's for me the main reasons. And I have something special things implemented that I need. For example, the YubiKey tools and the OAuth to my own server and so on. That was reasons too.
Okay. Great.
Yes, I can say I want to have the identity management in my own hands. Maybe it's a short answer.
Okay. So we are slowly running out of time. So first of all, I will ask people that are listening or watching live that we will be taking the last question or questions. In the meantime, anything else you would like people to know about this project? Kind of like wrap up sentence, paragraph, something like that, Klaus?
No, I think no.
Okay.
It's okay for me. Mm-hmm.
I don't see any new questions coming in. So Shay, you have your last chance to, well, ask and not ask a question.
No, I'm good.
Okay, so that was great. Klaus, thank you for your presentation. Hopefully people find it interesting and will contact you, and you will get some new ideas what they need and what they don't need.
That's great, yeah.
With that, we are out of time. So see you again in roughly a month on another .NET Data Community Stand-Up.
Fine.
And enjoy nicer weather, at least if you are in the same hemisphere that we are. Obviously, if you're in the other one, and it's going to get slightly different. Okay,
Perfect.
have fun.
Okay.
Enjoy.
Thanks. Thank you very much for your time.